When I decided to try and do YouTube full-time, there was really only one problem, which was that at the time I had 246 subscribers. Now, making a career out of that probably sounds like a pipe dream to you, but it never felt that way for me. And the reason for that is that I made my first YouTube video back in 2007. It was a fictional dream sequence where my reflection escaped a mirror and chased me around a warehouse. Now, that video did not go viral. It received a grand total of 2 comments, but my media studies teacher thought it was great and asked to submit it to a film festival in Toronto for me. And much to my surprise, it actually won, which was huge for me. It was so encouraging, and over the next 10 years, I kept making weird videos. And with each new short film, I'd experiment with something new, usually involving special effects. Sometimes it'd work, and sometimes it would be awful. Like this spinning chair, I don't even know what's going on here. Anyway, I kept putting my work out there, getting feedback, going to film festivals, often coming home empty-handed. Sometimes I'd win, but what was important was that every single time, I would learn something. In 2014, I started this channel with a music video about my graduate thesis, and that won me a trip to Europe. Now, unlike my old channel, I wanted to do 2 things differently. I wanted to make videos about science, and for the first time, I wanted to grow a community on the platform instead of just using it as a dumping ground for entering contests. By the time I decided to give YouTube a real try in late 2017, I had a lot of practice making science videos. I had a vision for the content that I thought would do well on the platform, and I generally felt like I had a chance at doing this full time. But hold on a sec. When I said that my only problem was that I only had 246 subscribers, I meant that sort of literally. So let's take a sec to list some of the problems that I didn't have. I knew I could afford to spend a full year without making any money. That was not a problem. I knew I wouldn't starve or get evicted because, as uncool as it is to admit this, my parents had a financial safety net for me. I also had access to a camera and the internet, and I had the time to use them. I had a high school education with teachers that encouraged me to be creative, and a university education that made me science literate. I never had to worry about people not taking me seriously because of my gender or skin color. I want to make it really clear here that I'm not bragging. I just know that I'm not special. I know that if more people had the resources that I was given, then more people would be doing what they're passionate about. And I think that that's when people shine the brightest. Now that is the world that I want to live in, one of equal opportunity. Honestly, I'm not sure how we get there, but we need to keep trying. I just know that I want to give back in the way that makes me most useful. And that's why I threw myself into this, even with just 246 subscribers. Speaking of which, I had a long way to go, and I decided to try and get there by going as big as possible. I would forget about making daily or even weekly videos. I'd try to make monthly videos that would each hopefully really stand out. So I set up thousands of dominoes to tell the history of the universe. I built a digital camera to explain evolution, and measured the world with my bike to explain why the Earth is not flat, and I sealed myself in a jar to talk about climate change. I focused on topics that I cared a lot about, and I worked really, really hard. And still, after a full year of doing this on YouTube, I had just 5,000 subscribers, which is good, but it just didn't seem in proportion. I'd been on BBC News and I'd trended on Twitter. Things were going really well outside of the platform, but as far as YouTube went, it didn't seem to be going anywhere. And I was honestly so very close to giving up. So close. Except that Tom Scott had invited me to be a guest on his YouTube channel, and I figured that if my channel was ever gonna grow, this was the best opportunity for it. Now, I have a machine that adds a drop of water to a cactus whenever someone subscribes to this channel, and that video, it literally flooded my desk with subscribers. And shortly after that, my channel passed 100,000 subscribers and 5 million views. And now here we are, and I'm so glad that I didn't give up, because as cheesy as it sounds, I want to use this channel to help make the world a better place through educational science content and through environmental activism. And now I'm finally in a place where I can run this channel full-time, sustainably, and that's really exciting for me, but I also don't want to stop here. I want to keep dreaming big. So here's where things are headed. I've been filming in the same apartment for many years now, and I'm moving, so this is my new studio space, and I am thrilled to be here. It's a lot nicer than my previous place, and it's going to make filming things and building things so much easier. So a big warm welcome. Next from the jar. I stretched myself really thin last year to be able to grow this channel to where it is now. And I want to keep making high quality content, but I know I just can't feasibly do that alone without burning out. So I've decided to hire a photographer in future projects and for thumbnails and various things. Her name is Jana, and when I used to teach, we taught at the same place. I'm excited to be working with her again, and I'm also excited to not have to be in front of and behind the camera all the time at the same time, because it's just difficult. I'm also currently working on some collaborations with other YouTubers, and it's a lot of fun to be working with people. So stay tuned, you'll see some familiar faces coming up. I have started a podcast called Domino Universe. It is a completely unscripted, unedited deep dive into the science adventures I'm working on and science in general. And it's co-hosted with my friend Jesse, who's been on this channel before. I'm really excited about it, but it's also a completely new format and style for me, so I'm learning. If you want to give it a listen and maybe give me some feedback, I would really appreciate that. There's a link in the description. Check it out, Domino Universe. While you're in the video description, you can check out my brand new website. I made my old one with HTML and it showed. Lastly, there's a lot of short content that just doesn't fit here on YouTube, but I still want to share it with you, so I've decided to start making IGTV vertical videos and more content on Instagram in general. I'll leave a link to both of those in the description. I'm also planning some really big projects that I'm giddy about, so stay tuned for that. All I'll say is I need to find a giant laser, a few dozen bowling balls, and a remote island. And I'm not even kidding. It's going to be a huge year. If you haven't subscribed already and pressed the bell, I encourage you to do that. I mean, I'm biased, but we're going to do a lot this year. Thanks for watching and for being here with me on this journey. And here's to dreaming big.